Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop right there. This channel is not intended for kids under the age of 13. So if you're under the age of 13, please leave. Don't need anybody getting in trouble around here. Come on back when you are 13. Or when YouTube decides that it's actually okay for family-friendly content to be seen by all. So yeah. You're still watching, aren't you? Turn it off. Turn it off now. Parents, where are you? Do your job.
Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have Marvel Legends series X-Men Nightcrawler, and this is from the Wendigo Build-A-Figure wave, and he looks amazing. This is a figure I was like, nope, it is not going to beat Toy Biz. Hasbro has its work cut out for them, and here we got the Hasbro version of Nightcrawler. So let's go ahead and take a look at the package before we dive in and see what he brings to the table. So we get some artwork on the side. Here we have the back of the box with some read-up information, so feel free to pause it if you'd like to read it. Then we get everybody from the wave. I reviewed Sinister, Ron Nightcrawler. I'm not getting the Guardian at all because I care nothing about the character or figure. We got Boom Boom next, and hopefully by the time I get done, I'll have these two. I'm waiting for them to try to get as close to 10 bucks a piece as possible, because especially Cannonball, not a lot of people not digging them. And then Wolverine comes 2 in a pack, and we've had tons of Wolverine. So I'm waiting for these to drop down a little bit more before I pick them up, and then we can build up Wendigo. Out of the package, Kurt looks magnificent, and he comes with a monstrous piece of Wendigo. It is the arm, and it is ginormous. They've also included an extra hand for Kurt. This is to replace his sword or gripping hand. We got this nicely sculpted extra hand. Nightcrawler comes with a variety of different portraits. He does have this one that has a nice little smirk to it. The sculpt is phenomenal. The eyeliner around the yellow eyes is great. His eyebrows, the blue little highlights added to his hair. His ears, like this, is an amazing sculpt. They definitely knocked the head sculpts out of the park with this figure. Here is his angry, screaming portrait. It looks great. It has that cool shadowing effect from the top of the head down to around his eyes. The teeth painted, the tongue's painted. The sculpt is great. Has the light blue highlights, but they sort of just stop. So you got a lot of the black hair, and it's sculpted great. It's just the highlights are just there. When the other head that we just looked at has the highlights are a little bit more towards the back. I don't know, but they still both sort of stop. Finally, Nightcrawler comes with his sword, and it looks great. It looks very, very good. It is painted silver. It's a solid feeling sword too, to the touch. It's not super floppy. Actually feels very sturdy. And then the actual hilt looks very good in the gold. They didn't use any of that Kraft macaroni and cheese. Very well sculpted. Great sword that's going to look great in his hands. Nightcrawler up close looks awesome. His neutral face is fantastic. The light blue is continuous at stopping sort of at the top. Sculpt is pretty nice. His tail, get it out of the way, looks good. It is a sort of more of a pliable plastic, but no wire. So there's no wire in the tail. Looks good. He does have a little bit of a speck of paint missing right there. Some of the red over the black could be a little bit better. You especially start noticing it down on his shins. Actually see the black underneath the red, which is never a good thing. And then you got some white specks right there. So overall, some of the paint just is not as thick as it should be, especially with what they're trying to do with this figure. But he does have his cool looking feet. The hands and the feet all look how they should. The figure actually looks how it should. It's just some of the paint's different. This is red plastic versus the paint, so there's a little bit of a slight color difference when it comes to the red, but not a horrible amount. It's these trims around the legs and the arms. Those are the parts that look the worst on this figure. So diving into articulation, his head does a full 360. You can angle it down that far and can look up that far. He doesn't have to deal with lollipop syndrome on his head. And then he does have a little bit of attitude there. Arm, disc hinge, goes all the way up. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist rotation, and hand bend. So he can wave at you. Now the other hand, all same articulation, but his sword holding hand can do the sword swiping hand. It's going into the up and down motion as it should be. So far, very good articulation. His ab crunch, you can see it there. Oh, geez. He actually ab crunches quite a bit. Then he can ab crunch back quite a bit as well. So that very nice articulation when it comes to this figure. Then we get this. I'm not a fan of this. I mean, the red doesn't line up. You get the bookshelf hips. I just don't get it. Let's test the splits on him. Very good. Very good amount of splits. He can kick up only that high. I would have thought he could have done it a little bit higher up. Does have the thigh cut. We do get the double jointed knees right here. No boot cut. And then we get ankle bend and then tons of ankle pivot in those feetsies. So then we have the tail and it rotates. That's all it does. It just rotates to get out of the way of you trying to pose this figure. You can get a decent amount of articulation out of Nightcrawler. I mean, I have him doing like a little creepy walk there. He sort of needs to balance there. There we go. With this sword out, looking super angry, ready to slice somebody up. And it's definitely a solid figure. You just got to get that balance going when you're posing him so he can do some crazy, creeping. This figure is awesome. So I'm able to get him crouched down and scrunched up as much as I could. He is balancing on the one foot. The other one sort of wants him to roll back. But you can get him down in some super crouchy poses. I dig it. I really like it. I wasn't thinking that I could get that much articulation out of it. I do wish that it had like the ab crunch and then it also had a ball joint so you can like rotate him and pivot his upper body in certain directions instead of having that waist cut. But it is a solid figure, and I noticed extra articulation. There's butterfly joints in the arms as well that I didn't even know until I started posing them up a little bit. But it is definitely a solid release for a Nightcrawler. Now it's comparison time. We got the Hasbro versus Toy Biz lineup, and just looking at them side by side, I really like how Hasbro looks. I love the proportions are right. Now, Toy Biz has done a lot of stuff right. A lot of people didn't like how his head looked, which I didn't really mind. But look at how long look at the feet. Those feet are huge. What are those? But, I mean, he has tons of articulation and, like, over-articulation in a sense. Like, we don't really need finger articulations. We don't need this little heel toe thing articulation. That makes no sense to me when it comes to this figure. I don't get it. All these individual toe knuckle stuff. No, we don't really need that. Toe bends on the other one would have been nice because you got him on that nice pivoted perching on the tip of his toes. But this guy, he's held up over time. He has tons of articulation. He's got those nasty ball hips. Some people might like him in the collection, and that's fine. He's still a solid figure. He's got the wire in the tail, so you get a lot more posability out of the tail as opposed to something that's already pre-bent in a certain design or in a certain direction. So Toy Biz Nightcrawler still looks good. In my opinion, if you just had him in your collection and had him on your X-Men shelf, he would still be a very nice Nightcrawler. It's almost like, hey, this is what he's going to look like in a couple more years because this is his nice, youthful Nightcrawler self. But I mean, both these figures are very, very nice. And it's crazy to show, like, we're comparing like a brand new figure this year, 2019, to a older figure that's been holding up that many years. That's awesome. That is awesome. So in comparison, yes, I'm going with this one because I wanted a younger Nightcrawler on my X-Men shelf. But both of them look fantastic. This one has that extra nice paint. He has like some gloss to his lips. Looks like they're a little bit wet. His hair shaded throughout instead of just stopping, you know, halfway through the head. So both are amazing and I love them both. It's up to you which one you want to have on your X-Men shelf, or you can have one on your X-Men shelf, one on your Excalibur shelf. It's you know, mix and match them. You can keep them in your collection. It's nothing wrong with that. All in all, this Nightcrawler is a solid figure. It is, you know, it's up to you if you want to sacrifice a more updated looking figure and sacrifice articulation for this figure, but it is a solid figure. I do recommend him for your X-Men shelf or Excalibur shelf or whatever shelf that you want to have your Nightcrawler on. As you can see, I got him posed up in a nice little, like he's crab walking and all that good stuff, but it is a fun figure and I'm happy to have them as part of my collection. So that sums up my unboxing and review of the X-Men Nightcrawler figure from the Wendigo Build-A-Figure Wave. If you guys like what you saw, hit that thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for me, please, and hit that bell notification if you want to know when I post up a new video. I want you guys to check out Toyco Toys and Collectibles. Website's down below with a promo code just for you for free shipping. If you order anything off of that website, it gets directly shipped to you for free, which is a great deal. And you also have the 2 Facebook groups. You got the Toyco community, interact with your fellow collector, talk figures, trade figures, just have a really good time. And then you have the pre-order group, which allows you to get dibs on some amazing figures at great prices that definitely stomps the competition. You know, when you got, you know, Big Bad Toy Store out there, Entertainment Earth, Megalopolis, like Toyco just destroys them when it comes to pre-order prices and new figure prices, and it's awesome. So definitely check that out as well. And if you're looking for a nice little group to join on Facebook, you definitely join Plastic Cannibals. That's my personal group. You just find a little image that you'll see at the end of this video on Facebook. When you search Plastic Cannibals up at the top in the search bar of Facebook, you'll see the group with that image. Click on it, answer the 3 questions, and come on in and start talking figures and showing off your collection. It doesn't matter how big your collection is. We're open arms, and if there's figures that you're looking for, we can definitely help you hunt them down, and you don't have to worry about scalping prices because we don't do that. And actually, we're against it in our group. So that's also a bonus as well. It's usually, if somebody finds something for you, it's retail or whatever they paid retail, because I know GameStop can be a little bit higher, plus shipping to get it to your doorstep. So definitely join the group. We're happy to have you guys. If you're new to collecting or a veteran to collecting, let's just talk figures. We're all adults. Let's have a good time. So I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting. Have a beautiful day.